What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube world? This is Chris, and of course, this is my channel, Bar911970. Thank you for watching this video. All right, guys, this is a video about information I haven't talked about in a while, and it seems like we need to address this again. So the first thing I'm going to say right off the bat is it may be long. I'm not really sure how long I'm going to take this video, but this is important information. So if you are having the ability to share it or favorite, post it on your social networks, it's really going to help get this information out, because people, even in the awakened kind of movement, really don't understand, or comprehend is the word I should really, and entrap you, because there is a word called legalese, which means there are legal definitions. Now, what does that mean? That means words that we may take for granted when you're speaking with your friends or speaking with your coworkers or your family or what have you, are going to have different meanings, therefore different consequences in the court of law. So one of the things I've seen, and somebody made a mention of this in one of the comments they made on one of my videos, and I've heard this all the time, so I think it does need mentioning. Somebody going around in the truther movement, in the free movement, so to speak, and they go around and telling people, especially in court or to a policeman, I'm a sovereign citizen. That sounds nice, but basically you might as well say I'm a free slave, because if you don't understand the meaning behind the words that you say, you don't realize how much you entrap yourself. And people are always talking about, well, I have my civil rights. Well, that's very true, but I'm going to show you how you really don't want those, because civil is not what you think it is. So there are two things that I've recommended before, and I will recommend them again. The first is get yourself a constitution, because it's very important to understand and comprehend what is going on with these amendments. And I'm going to explain one. Like I said, I've done this in other videos, but obviously this needs to be spoken about again. And here's another thing I highly recommend. This is a Black's Law Dictionary 5th edition. I'm sorry, this is a 4th edition. You want 5th edition or less. Basically, 4th edition, 3rd edition. The older it is, the better, because the newer ones, they're not going to work for you as well, because they change the definitions, because people are catching on. So let's start with the word civil right, because so many people in this truther movement, they'll go to policemen, or they'll go to courts, and they'll say, oh, well, I have my civil rights. I demand my civil rights. Be careful what you wish for, you might get it. So let's first go with the legal definition. Now, when I mean legal, that means that the definition is going to be different in a court of law than it would be something you would just say on the street. Civil right. It's the individual rights of personal liberty guaranteed by the Bill of Rights and by the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 19th Amendments, as well as legislation such as the Voting Rights Act. Civil rights include the right to vote, the right to due process, and the right of equal protection under the law. Okay, so let's look up the legal definition of the word civil. And if you want to check this, if you have a 4th edition Black's Law Dictionary, it's page 116 and 117. So the definition of civil: of or relating to the state of its citizenry, civil rights; of or relating to private rights and remedies that are sought out by action or suit, as distinct from criminal proceedings, in other words, civil litigation; of or relating to any of the modern legal systems derived from Roman law. What a surprise. How many times have I told people that it always goes back to the Roman law? All right, so let's now go to our Constitution. And we are going to look up the 14th Amendment, because it specifically talks about civil rights. So, July 9th, 1868, the 14th Amendment, Section 1, all persons. Now, I'm going to go over persons, because you might think that's just a word, and it is, but there's a legal word of it as well. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any laws which shall abridge these privileges. All right, so we're going to stop at that point of the amendment. So now, it says all persons. So I'm going to look up the word person, because again, you might be talking on the street and say, oh, I'm a person, and you'll think nothing of it. But you go to court, and they ask if you're a person, and you say yes. You don't realize what you're doing. So, person. Now, law is based on presumption and assumption. So if you don't know the law, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So let's go into person. It's a human being, and they go through a whole bunch of different categories. The living body of a human being, an entity such as a corporation that is recognized by law as having most of the rights and duties of a human being. In this sense, the term includes partnerships and other associations, whether incorporated or unincorporated. So I've talked about it many times how you are a corporation, the United States is a corporation, and they're talking right here in the Black's Law Dictionary how one of the definitions of person is a corporation. So if you list yourself as a person, like it says in the Constitution, then you are saying you are a corporation, which means you are under control. And the way I've talked about this, and if you haven't seen my videos, look at the video I've done on my must-watch section where it's the truth about the United States law in the EU. It's going to go into deeper detail about all of this stuff. Legal definitions are very important. So when you are saying you are a person born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, now think of it from a king and queen standpoint. What is a name for the people who bow down to the king? Well, that's the king's subjects. So you have to be very careful about the definitions, because if you go to court and you're demanding your civil rights, well, basically what you're saying is under the Constitution and under the legal definitions of the words that you're saying, please make me a slave. So they're giving you exactly what you want, because ignorance of the law is no excuse. So for somebody to go around saying, I want my civil rights, well, you have to understand what the word civil means. And it goes back and forth into different parts. Look up the word person. It will tell you that you are a corporation. So in other words, you're not property. I mean, see, you're considered property. So, I mean, I know people say, oh, that sounds crazy, but, you know, that's how they get away with it. And that's why you go to court, and sometimes, unless you're proven innocent, the best they can do is reduce your sentence. So in other words, they're stealing money from you. Why? Because you don't know the law. And the judge, law is also based on interpretation. So if there are 15 different definitions of a specific legal term, the judge at his own discretion could decide which one he interprets that to be. So if he wants to use the one that could basically damn you and condemn you, you know they're going to do it. So you really need to learn legal definitions, because when people go around saying, I'm a sovereign citizen, they don't understand what they're saying. And if you tell a cop or you tell a judge, well, I'm a sovereign citizen, they'll agree with you. And they're going to laugh behind your back because they realize that the person that's saying those words has no clue what their meanings mean legally. Now, again, I'm not talking about you talking to John Doe or Mary Doe on the street saying, oh, I'm a person. They're going to understand it differently. I'm talking about courts. I'm talking about law. I'm talking about things that can imprison you, fine you, and put you in a lot of situations you don't want to be in. So ignorance of the law is no excuse. They love entrapping people based on their ignorance. And if you want to go around saying you're a sovereign citizen, go around and tell everybody you're a free slave and see how people react to that, because that's basically what you're saying with those words. So it's called drowning in good intention. So if you say that to the regular person on the street, you're a sovereign citizen, they'll pat you on the back and say congratulations, and it's going to do you no harm. But if you try and tell a police officer that, or if you try and tell a judge that, you're talking a different ball game. And if you don't understand their game, house always wins. So I'm going to leave it short, under 10 minutes. So get yourself a Black's Law Dictionary, 5th edition or less. Get yourself a Constitution and actually look up the words that break down those specific amendments. Because if you don't understand the words, you don't realize you're entrapping yourself. And then you have no one to blame but yourself. So basically, law is based on presumption, and it's also based on consent. So if you're not arguing it, you're technically agreeing with it. And that's why they can get away with all the things they get away with, because the people just basically sit there and take it. They don't understand the legal definitions. They entrap themselves without knowing it, because ignorance of the law is no excuse, and they're not going to tell you, and you get in trouble, or at the very least, you have to pay some kind of fine. So if you want to continue to do that, then don't pay attention to this stuff and see what happens. And hope you meet a judge one day that decides that they want to be the good guy. Good luck with that. So if you appreciate this information, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it and favorite. Show this to your friends. Get yourself a Black's Law Dictionary. And remember, guys, you're responsible for what you do and don't do. If you don't want to take responsibility for yourself and you want to hope others are going to do the right thing, you're playing Russian roulette with a gun that's 99% full of bullets. Not the way I want to live. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post this on your social networks. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered. Peace.